The subjunctive. Let's start with the present subjunctive. In formal English, expressions and verbs that suggest that something is recommended or important take the present subjunctive form. The present subjunctive has the same form as the base form of the verb, that's infinitive without to, and it is the same in both present and past situations. Examples of expressions that need this form are to be important, to be essential, to be vital, to be crucial, etc. Examples of verbs that need this form are suggest, recommend, propose, insist, and demand. Right, let's look at some example sentences. For example, it is necessary that they be warned of the risks. Or in the past, it was vital that they be warned of the risks. Using a verb, I recommend that he see a specialist. The same form is used in the past. I recommended that he see a specialist. Right, a small note here that a negative subjunctive construction is rare even in formal English. If you can find a direct antonym, use that instead. For example, instead of saying it is important that she not be late, say it is important that she be punctual. There are alternatives to the present subjunctive. Let's have a look at them. In American English, the present subjunctive is used more frequently than in British English. In British English, we tend to use an alternative structure. One alternative is using the modal verb should for both present and past situations. For example, it is necessary that they should be warned of the risks. Or, I recommend that he should see a specialist. Another alternative after expressions of importance is using for and infinitive with to. For example, it is necessary for them to be warned of the risks. Now, an important note here that in informal, everyday spoken English, both British and American, you may hear the normal tenses used, and that can be dropped. So, if we have the formal written English, it's necessary that they be warned of the risks. In everyday language, you're more likely to hear, it's necessary they're warned of the risks. Or, in formal English, I recommended that he delay seeing a specialist. In everyday spoken English, would be more likely to be said as I recommended he delayed seeing a specialist. Right, that's all for the present subjunctive. Let's move on to the past subjunctive. The past subjunctive is used in unreal or improbable present or future situations. It has the same form as the past simple tense, except in the case of the verb be. The past subjunctive form of be is were for all persons, including the first and third person singular. In informal English, was can sometimes be used instead of were, but to be on the safe side, I recommend you always use were. Let's look at the usage of the past subjunctive. It is commonly used in the if clause of conditional to sentences, a hypothetical situation. For example, I'm not young anymore. If I were young, I would travel around the world. Another hypothetical situation, I have to finish my assignment. If I didn't have to do this, I would catch up on my reading. There are other expressions that express an unreal or improbable situation and need the past subjunctive. The most common ones are, it's time. It's time the Prime Minister took the matter in hand. I wish. I wish it weren't so grey today. If only. If only I had a faster computer. I'd rather. I'd rather you didn't tell everyone I'd lost my job. To look, behave, sound as if or as though. For example, she behaves as if she were the last woman on earth. A couple of notes here. The first one is that after I wish, you may also use would to indicate that you are annoyed by the current situation. For example, I wish you would stop shouting at the TV newsreader. Also, if the situation is real or probable, you can use the present tense after expressions that are similar to look as if or look as though. For example, she looks as if or she looks as though she has heard some great news. Right, that's the end of the lesson. Let's do some exercises. Let's start with the present subjunctive. No, I need to go back further. Okay, back to the end of the lesson. Let's do some exercises. Let's start with the present subjunctive. I'd like you to rewrite the original sentence by using the subjunctive form. Make sure you connect the two clauses with that. Let's look at a couple of examples. Example 1. I insisted on Jane joining our team. Using the subjunctive form, we get I insisted that Jane join our team. Second example, it is important for him to figure this out. Using the subjunctive form, we get it is important that he figure this out. All right, your turn. Number 1. My mum insists on my being home before midnight. Let's change that to the subjunctive form. My mum insists that I be home before midnight. Number 2. We demanded an apology from him. We demanded that he apologize. Number 3. It was important that everyone should show up. It was important that everyone show up. Number 4. I recommend a membership upgrade for her. I recommend that she upgrade her membership. Number 5. It is vital for the data to be precise. It is vital that the data be precise. Right, let's move on to the past subjunctive. Complete each sentence with the correct form of the verb. For example, I wish she not be so busy the whole time. I wish she weren't so busy the whole time. Okay, number 1. If I be in your shoes, I'd seek legal advice. If I were in your shoes, I'd seek legal advice. Number 2. It's time we stop having these rows. It's time we stopped having these rows. Number 3. If only this process be more straightforward. If only this process were more straightforward. Number 4. I wish you can see through her lies. I wish you could see through her lies. Number 5. I'd rather we not discuss this any further. I'd rather we didn't discuss this any further. Right? That's the end of this